I'm Howard Berger with Realcomm, and I am here with two of our 2023 IBcon conference chairs. To my left, Colette Temminck, Chief Operating Officer, Commercial Division for SMS Assist, a lesson company. And to Colette's left, Arv Gupta, Senior Vice President of National Operations for Cadillac Fairview. Unfortunately, Charles Whiteley couldn't join us. I think Charles had to get out of here. He had an important meeting to make. But first of all, I wanted to just say thank you both for being IBcon chairs, for all of your input in helping us put together the program, and also to congratulate you on your contribution to what I thought was a great general session yesterday. Before we go a little bit further, just to let folks get to know you and your companies a little bit, tell us a little bit about your company and a little bit about your background. Get a little context, and then we can go into our conversation.
Terrific, and thank you for allowing us to co-chair. It's been an amazing adventure, and great opportunity to work with some fantastic people in our industry. Yeah. So we have two great companies that came together, SMS Assist and Lesson. And then obviously the acquisition of Blue Sky that added to the talent in the organization as well.
Busy time.
It's a busy time, but great opportunity. My background has always been on the corporate side, on the occupier side, and then on the service provider side. So deep background in facilities management. So come at this a little bit with a different perspective than others, just having been on the facilities management side for so long and looking at technology and how that's going to enable our industry into the next generation has been amazing.
But you had taken major leadership roles in a number of organizations.
Yeah, I've been fortunate enough to work with some great companies.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Arv.
Yeah, so Arv Gupta with Cadillac Fairview. Just keeping it simple, we're a owner, developer, operator of best-in-class office, retail, mixed-use properties in Canada. 69 properties, over 35 million square feet, about $40 billion in asset value, and starting to grow on the residential side as well. Mm-hmm. As for myself, I lead the operation services team, which is really a number of verticals of shared services supporting the properties, and also leading continuous improvement and business transformation across all of the asset classes.
We'll get back to some of the more detailed questions in a second, but so in our general session yesterday, I thought we had a very stimulating conversation on what you thought were some of the major themes impacting our industry, and if I could ask, let's expand a little bit on your number one topic, and I think we can build a conversation on that. Do you want to start, Colette?
Yeah, I think we started looking at 2022 and some of those themes carrying over in 2023. I think organizations, in particular corporate real estate departments, are being asked to do more with less, with a better outcome of cost and the occupant experience. So they're definitely focused on how to improve the occupant experience, but also looking at how they're managing the building. How do they get as efficient as possible? They recognize which services are going to contribute to their employee base, either productivity or their satisfaction of the space. So that theme is going to continue. They are going to continue to look at both the work environment, kind of the physical environment, and the workspace of the individual, and how those two come together as well. So really looking at, work from home, work in the office, what is that combination going to be in the future? How do they understand their own employee base to understand what that combination of conference rooms, cubicles, and others, and the services as well, and how that comes together for a great environment that aligns to their culture and supports their culture.
Seems like it shouldn't be so complicated, but
technology sits at the center.
Still amazed at how complex this topic has evolved to be, because there are very few templates, there is no one size fits all.
Right.
Very few templates, and the learnings have been sporadic at best. I think in a lot of areas. So I still, how long are we going to be working at this to evolve this to a point where, we feel like we have a pretty good idea of if an organization is really looking to develop a workplace facility strategy, that they could apply some kind of scientific approach to figuring out how to do that. Is that in the works?
Yes, but think about the complexities, right? It's not just one person per seat.
No.
Now it's a shared environment. And now it's a shared environment where they may be working in a conference room, they may be working in a cafe, they may be working in a cube. And so understanding when individuals are going to be in the office, they may come in the office to work alone, they may come in the office because there's team meetings. And now you're looking at contractors sharing that same space in some environments. So the complexity grows in terms of making sure you have the right space to enable those employees when they need it. And that becomes very complex because it's looking at the behaviors of how people work and how they use that space. And then when do they need services? What type of services, right? All the way from copy machines to the cafe. And so that adds to the complexity, and it needs to be enabled by technology. And I think there's been great strides over the last few years in technology around space planning, but we still have a ways to go.
I've seen some incredible strides being made, especially over the last year, especially by some of the architectural firms. I think Gensler, HOK, to agree, Zaha Hadid and some others have produced some incredible research.
Agreed.
Really applying a lot of data and math and science to the problem. So Arv, yours.
Yeah, I mean, let me just start, Howard, by saying, the real estate industry, I think, we've been a little spoiled. Like, we haven't had a lot of need to change, right? Things have been good, but guess what? Things have evolved over the last few years, and the need to drive efficiency, occupant experience is bigger than ever. And when I look around this, this floor, I see a lot of technology solutions that are going to give us that operational efficiency, that are going to give us improved occupant experience. What I'm most concerned with is, that technology alone, frankly, only gets us 20 to 30% there.
Still have people.
Well, it's about process change, and it's about roles and responsibilities changes, and sometimes, more than not, it's about organization structure change. By the nature of data, it's centralized. You're changing who makes what decisions. The general manager at properties used to be the captain of the ship, but they are now executing things that are dispatched to them and decisions that are made centrally. This is a fundamental shift in the business model that's driven by technology. I mean, there's a lot of change, but we need to think about that. And that's what drives the technology, yes, but to drive that process change and the roles and responsibility change, that's a huge undertaking, and we need to think about that.
Absolutely. I would say this year more than ever, I have focused in the conference program less on specific technology than I have on the processes and the organizational, the way the organization actually deals with that whole process of change.
Right.
Because we can talk change, but change also, we know it's hard. We know it's pushing an elephant up a hill. We know it takes a lot of energy, and you've got to have champions. You've got to have these heroes that really manage the change. But what we don't always talk about is the failed implementations. We don't talk about the failures or how we, the resilience that's required to be able to make that happen and learn from it.
But I mean, I would even say, you talked about heroes. It gets simpler than that. You actually need to engage the business leaders who are responsible for those metrics. That's it. Who's leading that change? Who's leading the reinvention of those processes? They better be the champions and the leaders, right?
I mean, I just see so many organizations where we've got a CIO that has all these great ideas, and they are good ideas. They would positively impact the organization. But in a lot of cases, may not be able to articulate a business case to the executive leaders in a way that they're going to buy, that they're going to accept it, or he just can't get, for one reason or another, executive leadership behind it. And I see that frustration.
Well, you'll get them aligned if you folks stay focused on the business metrics and the business objectives. So if they're getting bonused on it, they're going to listen. Okay, so
And
that's
you
the
guys
bottom
have gone
line.
through a massive
Yeah.
transformation.
Right.
Yeah, I know that, which is truly ongoing, but I know
Yeah,
with
it's
an
ongoing.
organization like yours, it has been epic, an epic transformation. Well, let me just leave with one thing. I know we're getting close on time. Just 30 seconds. What do you see that we can do? What would you leave somebody who's in charge of driving adoption in an organization? Maybe one suggestion on what they could do, something you'd like to leave with them on how they could better drive adoption in their organizations.
I'd say formal change management program.
Traditional formal change management.
But I also look at what are you trying to solve for? What are the pain points that you're trying to solve for, and really understanding the technology that you're implementing and how that's going to add value to your organization. And then to your point, the change champions that will help implement that.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say similar to what Colette says, stay focused on the business objectives and make sure the people who are leading those business metrics are the ones who are the champions, and make sure that the technology is just the enabler to that. Always talk about what you're trying to deliver. If I'm trying to deliver improved maintenance, stay focused on maintenance, and let technology be the enabler of that. And I think that's a big way to get there for sure.
Well said.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Thank
well,
you.
thank you both.
Yeah, thank you as
that was a
well.
great talk, and so I want to thank everybody. It's a wrap.